Chris Walby. Chris?
Thank you, Brian. It's deafening at Olympic Stadium where over 50,000 have amassed. For the third straight year, it's Toronto and Montreal in the Eastern Division Final, vying for a trip to the nation's capital to oppose those BC Lions in the 2004 Grey Cup. And Chris Walby, before we kick things off, let's check your Gillette game notes.
Well, let's take a look at them, Chris. We're talking about the Argonauts. What did the Toronto Argonauts have to do? Hey, it's in the cards with 6 to 7 yards. I'm not being a poet. You need first down production. Don't be in second and long with this blitzing defense. On defense, you got to play some rock and roll on Cavill. Do not let him sit back there. Hit him, distract him, put him off his game. On the other side of the coin, feel the force. And of course, I'm talking about Copeland, Cahoon, Cavill, and Anderson. Any one of these four all together could be the difference maker today. And ice the Argos on defense. That means intimidate them, confuse them, and execute your game plan.
Quite a backdrop. Third straight year. Mike Clements has taken his team here to Montreal for the East Division Final. And there's a man who does not need a map to get to the Grey Cup game. He coached Pinball Clements for 2 Grey Cups in 96 and 97. And they oppose each other here as Dave Stala kicks it off. The Lions await the winner of this East Division Final. Bashar Livingston outside across the 30 and punished by KJ, Kevin Johnson, the Alouette middle linebacker, getting the first lick in. Well, there's Damon Allen in his last 3 starts against Montreal. Started but didn't finish, knocked out of those games with a broken hand in last year's Eastern Final, a concussion in July, a broken leg in August.
But the positive spin is last game against the Alouettes in only a half of football had his best outing against this defense.
Working against a defense that led in 14 of 25 categories. Allen over the middle, and he overthrows R.J. Soward as we set this sputtering Argo offense for you.
Well, obviously the key is that man, Damon Allen. He has to have a great game today. And John Avery, where has John Avery been? Miles and Baker, Bruce, Soward, and Talbot, the leading receiver from the semifinal game last week. And an offensive line, a lot of pressure on these boys, anchored by Chad Folk at center.
And the message from the Argo staff was that O-line has to be better than it was last week against the high pressure of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2nd and 10, Allen hit, but Robert Baker has the catch, upended at the 40-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by 2 as we set the Alouette defense for you.
And what a defense it is. Brown, Simpson, Philly, and Anwar Stewart, the big hit on Damon Allen that play. Strickland, and the leader of this defense, Kevin Johnson at the middle linebacker position, but don't forget about Dwayne Butler. And how about Armando Curry at that cornerback position, up for Rookie of the Year.
Noel Prefontaine, even Don Matthews said clearly he was the star of the Eastern Semi with that fat average of 50.7 yards. Not a good first punt. Here's Ezra Landry. And once again, Argos with great downfield coverage. And Randy Strachinski jostling a bit with Landry. After a 40-yard punt, 4 yards lost on the return. Well, there's the man who passed for over 6,000 yards this year, only the 4th in CFL history to do so. Anthony Calvillo brings the 4 horsemen out to go to work.
Well, the 4 horsemen, and how about the X Factor, Sylvain Gerard, who's, had he played the entire season, could very possibly have had 1,000 yards himself.
But working against a very stingy Argonaut defense. First throw of the game, Jermaine Copeland with the catch at the 34-5 for Copeland. One of the 4 1,000-yard Alouette receivers.
Well, Anthony Calvillo, quarterback. How about Eric Lapointe getting a start at running back today? 6.1 yards per carry average. Sylvain Gerard just talked about him. He could be the X factor today. And the 4 horsemen, Copeland, Calvillo, Cahoon, and Anderson, each with 1,000 yards. and a very good offensive line, anchored by Okeke, the left tackle.
4 Eastern All-Stars of the 5 on that offensive line. 2nd and 5, a completion to Copeland. He'll have a first down, and he lets you know at the 40-yard line.
Now the Argonauts are going to sit back in coverage, a little bit of a match coverage. We have 3 receivers, going to have 4 guys covering those 3 receivers, but they're sitting back, waiting for the receiver to come to their zone. As a result, everything underneath is open right now, and it's just a game of pitch and catch so far.
Copeland 6th in the league this year, 84 catches. As you see the yardage after being the top man yardage-wise last year. They stack up this left side, Gerard, and he is smothered, short gain, as they try the hitch screen to the very speedy Canadian wideout. And a little bit of animosity early. Paul Lambert fired up, the left guard.
Well, this is a defense that's been the strength of the Argos all year. Eric England, 2 sacks last week. Noah Cantor, 10 quarterbacks sacks on the season. Fletcher O'Shea, the leader of that defense. Ivan led the CFL in tackles, and don't count out Antonius Bonner for a big play today. Younger Wheaton Steinhauer, Ivory, and the veteran Adrian Smith at the corner.
2nd and 6, Calvillo, quick hitter, and Copeland looking for a flag, won't get it. Pass incomplete. Orlando Steinhauer read the mail. And the veteran safety, one of the keys to this Argo defense.
Well, the big thing is they're doing a little bit of box coverage, a little zone coverage, and they've got Ivory underneath and the safety, Orlando Steinhauer, coming over top, and they prevent that completion. Copeland didn't like the call, but they have to punt the football.
Livingston with 5 kick returns for touchdowns this year. Mark Mariscal is the punter. High, not deep. On the run, Livingston can't field it, but does get the no yards call. Ball out of bounds after a short 34-yard punt. Just underway in the Eastern Final. Playing for the right to play BC in the Grey Cup.
Is your house putting a damper on your holidays? Run to Rona and decorate your home this holiday during our Deck the Halls with Rona event. Get this brilliant Christmas bear for just $39.95. 25 exterior lights, just $4.99. Or this 7-foot Antarctica flock pine, just $99. Get your home into the holiday spirit. Run to Rona for our Deck the Halls event happening right now at each and every Rona store. Hurry, quantities are limited. Rona, the how-to people, proudly Canadian.
If you think all batteries are the same, consider this. When the Rocky Mountain Rescue Group needs light to save lives, they trust Duracell. Out there or right here at home. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
I give you my word. Keeping our word is standard. Standard Life.
Wrinkle-resistant business suits from Moores, so both you and your suit arrive looking good. Moores, well-made, well-priced, well-dressed.
Heads-up play by Barrett Livingston to challenge the ball. He knew that the Alouettes were encroaching on the 5 yards. It's a 15-yard penalty against the Alouettes.
Very smart play of taking it up and catching the defender in the neutral zone, the 5-yard zone.
Argonauts feel that this will be a critical component of this game. They've returned kicks for 14 touchdowns in the last 2 years, and they feel they may need one today to offset this Alouette team. Pass swung into the flat, incomplete, intended for Tony Miles. With penalty flags down, Dave Ewell's in charge, and the Argos jumped early.
Flags thrown on both sides of the football field on the line of scrimmage.
Illegal procedure. Toronto 67. Still first down.
Right tackle John Fugo getting the jump. Again, working against very quick defensive ends. Stewart on one side, Harry Samuels the other. 67 just with a flinch. That's all it takes to get that flag thrown.
So it's 1st and 15. Argos have to battle the noise. Now it's swung out. Arlen Bruce makes one man miss. Look out! Oh, a big tackle from the backside. Tim Strickland saves a touchdown. Bruce had a lot of daylight ahead of him.
Well, a lot of daylight, but Damon Allen reckoned it's a pre-snap read. There comes the blitz. There's nobody outside. You got a 15-yard cushion on the receiver, Arlen Bruce. He makes the ball, and boy, he's tough to bring down in open field.
Bruce, a mid-season acquisition who has yet to play against the Alouettes in the 3 Montreal wins. 18 yards on the pickup. First down, Toronto. There's Robert Baker, upended by the fine rookie, Almondo Curry, and Baker gets up in his grill. Baker, the most physical of the Argo receivers.
Well, Baker, who refuses to get into a war of words about this football game, says, I'm going to let my action on the football field be my talking. Makes a nice grab, but Armando Curry right there to bring him down. Baker and Tony Miles both had over 100 yards receiving last time these two teams met.
2nd and 6, and the noise level gets amped up. Here's the pressure. Allen delivers and overthrows Tony Miles, and it will be 3rd down as Damon wasn't on the same page with the intended receiver.
Well, that's just basically the pressure of the defense getting to Damon Allen, forcing him to throw that football before he wants to. They had the guy they wanted to get open, but not enough time to find him.
So Prefontaine back in. Subpar opening punt after last week. 50.7-yard average. This one angling for that cone, and it will go out in the end zone for a single point. Prefontaine was looking to get the coffin corner, and he'll get a single point consolation as we join Brenda Irving.
Well, Chris, there are about 50,000 plus Als fans in the stands, and of course the noise they can make the play calling a challenge for opposing quarterbacks. So earlier this week, the Argos moved their practice inside to a bubble dome and pumped in crowd noise to simulate what they'll face here today. Quarterback Damon Allen says they practice their silent snap counts during the week, but Coach Mike Clemens says, hey, the easiest way to make sure the noise isn't a factor, just jump out to that early lead. Chris?
Well, they are 10-1 when scoring first, but they won't be sitting on that 1 point. Here's Copeland, 3rd catch already with flags down. Copeland close to a first down as Kevin Ivan and Antonius Bonner, 2 of those active Argo linebackers, in on the tackle.
Well, as the officials meet, I believe it's going to go against Montreal, and it is indeed going against them. It's just a case again of the receivers trying to time up that snap count.
Montreal number 5. First down repeated.
Eric Lapointe, the culprit. And so it will be 1st and 15. Back at the 30, the Argos have struck first on the 48-yard single by Prefontaine. Four receivers wide side. Calvillo looking deep. Another flag down. And the ball incomplete, but there's a penalty marker as Younger got tied up with the intended receiver, Thyron Anderson. And that's a costly call when at the other end a holding penalty was upcoming against Montreal.
Well, then again, we're assuming that the interference was on Younger. A lot of hand fighting going down the sidelines between Anderson and Jordan Younger, who've had quite the battle going this season.
Holding, Montreal 68. Pass interference, Montreal 87 is declined. First down repeated.
So both calls against Montreal.
Well, it looks like he almost tries to pull around Jordan Younger to come to have an attempt to get to the football, and that's just good coverage by Jordan Younger, keeping him and the defender away.
And Brian Chu gets the call on Noah Cantor. It's a matchup we'll be watching today. There's a little shovel underneath, and Eric Lapointe picks his way up to the 28-yard line. Noah Cantor had 3 sacks against Montreal this year, playing against Chu. Had a big game in the 2000 Grey Cup when BC played Montreal, and Cantor was a BC Lion. Mike O'Shea suggesting yesterday that Cantor scores out pretty well against the All-Canadian center.
Well, he might be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, player on that Argonaut team.
2nd and 17. Argos jump, play doesn't get off. Eric England was one of the boatmen who moved too quickly.
Well, that's just a veteran Anthony Cavill changing the snap count, anticipating that
Offside, Toronto 95.
that
Still
the
second
Argonauts
down.
want to bring the blitz. They see it coming, so how do you stop the blitz? You change the snap count, you catch them in, don't let them get any kind of rhythm getting off to the ball. You don't always want to go on a 1 snap count. Fletcher clearly offside on the top, Eric England on the bottom.
England, who led the league in sacks last year with 14, an off season with only 4 and yet 2 in the Eastern Semi against Hamilton. Now 2nd and 12. Calvillo dumping it off. There's Ben Cahoon. And Cahoon all the way to midfield. And Alouette first down.
Well, you must never forget where 86 is on the football field. Nobody to throw to initially. Cavill gets to the outside. How does 86 Ben Cahoon do this? He finds a little opening, sits down there almost like he's invisible, but he always comes up with those big key clutch catches.
2nd to G. Roy Simon with 93 catches on the year. And there's Kwame Cavill. Close to another first down. Ball down on the ground, and they're battling for it. And let's see, I think the officials are going to discuss this. Argos think they've got the football, and Cavill remains down.
And
now
a flag gets thrown.
But Kwame Cavill this year really took this Alouette offense to another level as a 3rd dangerous inside receiver, and he really was shining when Ben Cahoon went down with an injury and missed a pair of games himself.
He got his opportunity, but I think the big thing that's changed from last year, and you say, how much better can Montreal get? Last year they were a 2-receiver offense.
Now, 4 flags as Jonathan Brown takes off the helmet. Well, that's an automatic penalty. Let's see if there's more. And they got to cool him down. Remember, Hamilton lost its composure last week. The Argonauts stayed cool, and the youngster out of Tennessee is being pulled out of there before he gets into more trouble.
And Coach Clemens has told his players, he's talked to them about it. He says, you know what, even in practice, you're not allowed to take your helmet until you get off the sidelines. When you get on the sidelines, take your hat off, not a problem. But don't do it on the football field where the flags will be thrown. Let's take another look at that hit by Bonner and company on Kwame Cavill.
Kenny Wheaton in on the collision. Cavill had a concussion earlier in the season. Brown still cooling off, and they are being very careful attending to the injured Alouette receiver Kwame Cavill.
Well, I want to finish my thought. I was talking about the fact that last year they were a 2-receiver offense. Obviously it was Cahoon and Copeland. This year, with the emergence of Cavill and obviously the big target, Thyron Anderson, they've really managed to spread this offense all across the football field and just give defenses fits.
And the 2 men in the Argonaut collision, 2 of the hardest hitters in the league in Wheaton and Bonner, who dismantled Dondra Gilliam last week with a menacing hit.
Conduct. Toronto number 10 after the play. Objectionable conduct. Montreal trainer. Objectionable conduct, helmet violation. Toronto 97. First down.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard a Montreal trainer, or any trainer for that matter, getting a penalty. Obviously he's saying some things, and that's probably out of concern for his player. Something was probably said to the effect that they're happy that Cavils might be out of the game, and obviously the trainer protecting his player.
Mike O'Shea in the midst of that.
Well, you can see it was Jonathan Brown as well. Jonathan Brown was getting in there, and something was obviously said. A little heated exchange between him and the trainer.
And they, on the field, announced trainer. I believe that's actually the doctor for the Alouettes, who got involved in that confrontation. I believe that's Dr. Vince Lacroix, as we saw him get tangled up, and they are being very careful with Cavill.
Something you definitely don't like to see. Just gets tagged right in the ear hole, right in the side of the head, on the helmet. And I like the fact that they're taking every precaution right now. We talked a lot about the nature of this game. It's very physical. The emotions are at very much a high. When you're playing in a championship game, never mind a regular season game. It's a big hit, but it just shows you never know what's going to happen on any given play.
It's 2 weeks in a row now. Bonner has had to wait an extended period of time after being involved in a crushing hit over the middle. But the good scene here is that Cavill is sitting up and talking to the doctor.
Well, he doesn't want to go off the field. I think they're going to just check. Obviously, the concussion is probably one of the things they want to look at. Just make sure that he has all his thoughts that are right. Knows where he is. Knows that he's in Olympic Stadium.
The end result, a woozy receiver, an Alouette first down, and 15 extra yards when all the flags were sorted out.
An excellent field position for this Alouette offense to go back to work with.
And maybe the first penalty ever assessed to a team doctor.
Now, will they fine him?
You go over to Don Matthews and say, "Put me in, coach. You got a spot now." 35-yard line of Toronto. 1-0 Argonauts. Alouettes threatening. 4 receivers right side, and they hand the ball off. And this is Jonas Lewis in for Autry Denson. He'll share the workload today, along with Canadian Eric Lapointe.
Well, Jonas Lewis is a load. 5'9", 210 pounds, and he just hits the hole. 6.2 yards per carry. They really like his attitude, and he's a great special team guy. That's how he keeps himself on this roster.
Looked like he got 6.2 yards on that carry. 2nd and 4. Fake to Lewis in the flat. Cahoon dodges 2 tacklers, and then is hammered. Oh, Cantor and Mike O'Shea finally came across, but Cahoon moves the chains.
Well, once again, just a hitch pattern, get the ball out in the flat to Ben Cahoon, who does the rest himself by sidestepping a couple of would-be tacklers. Little play action, get it to number 86. He avoids a tackle. Kenny Wheaton breaks a couple more and picks up the first down.
Well, Ben Cahoon, the top Canadian the last 2 years, outvoted this year by Kevin Ivan. There's a catch inside the 5. Jermaine Copeland's got another.
Well, the Argonauts are just sitting back in the zone, and as a result, the receivers are finding the holes. This time, Copeland just finds a hole in front of the linebacker, Kevin Ivan. Ball is delivered, but not before another first down is picked up.
And it's 1st and goal from just outside the 3. Give to Lewis. Touchdown, Montreal.
is just too easy for the Alouettes as they just simply march up the football field and look at the hole at the point of attack for Jonas Lewis to run through for the first touchdown of the afternoon.
In their first 2 meetings of the year, the Alouettes generated only 1 offensive touchdown, but that was an impressive march. Calvillo was 8 for 9, and Lewis capped it with a 3-yard run.
Here we go. Move it here, move it there. Let's go. Move it here, move it there. Let's go. Move it here, move it there. What? Come on, let's go.
The all-new 2005 Hyundai Tucson with one of Canada's best warranties. Perfect for whatever, whenever.
What gives a man ultimate shaving performance? Braun Activator's revolutionary new foil with differently shaped holes captures hair growing in any direction for a closer shave in fewer strokes. And the world's most thorough automatic cleaning center leaves it feeling like a new shaver every day. Try the new Braun Activator. It's the world's best self-cleaning shaver, guaranteed.
Anthony Calvillo, top Canadian last year, up for that award again this season, 8 for 9 to start the football game.
Well, I think we talked about it early. The Argonauts have to confuse. First off, they got to change the defensive look and give Anthony Calvillo more than one look, and they've just been running zone. And they got to get some pressure on him.
Ball bouncing into the arms of Arlen Bruce. And Bruce with blocking up front. A lot of daylight. Arlen Bruce down the sidelines. And he will be stretching out to the cone. Touchdown. And the Argos special teams have done it again. The 8th return touchdown of the season. This 97 yards.
Boy, talk about answering the bell. Shakes off the first would-be tackler. Gets behind a wall of blockers. There's Mike O'Shea doing double duty. Not only defense, but special teams. And look at the effort to stretch out and break that plane with the football. 97 yards. The touchdown and the lead with the convert.
Returned a kickoff against Winnipeg earlier this year. And the Argos answer right back and have a 1-point lead.
Okay, here we go. Can you find the all-star on this team? He's not the top scorer, but he's everybody's MVP, most valuable person, a hockey volunteer. You can put your local heroes first by nominating them for the RBC Local Hockey Leaders Program. Visit rbc.com for details. RBC Insurance. First for you.
Hey, Tom, how are the eggs? Over easy. Just the way I like them, thanks. So, you drive a bus, right? Mm-hmm. Is it that bus? Oh, it's kind of hard to tell through the crowd. Whoa. Stanley, you still here?
It's not like rush.
Start your day off right with a real breakfast at A&W.
Presenting the Nissan Quest, a revolutionary minivan. Featuring 5 Skyview windows, front and side impact 5-star safety rating, an innovative center console, automated side and rear lift doors, and fold-away second and third row seats. Moms have changed. Shouldn't the minivan?
Pinball Clements said his team needed to win the special teams battle today. They've got the lead in both departments now.
Well, I thought the key word was he says we don't have an advantage against Montreal because they also have outstanding special teams, so we have to make it our advantage. We have to one-up them. They did just that, 97 yards. Arlen Bruce, boy, that's exactly how you answer the bell.
Spectacular play. We'll take another look. I'm not sure Bruce didn't put a knee down out of bounds before breaking the plane. Let's take another look at his second kickoff return for a touchdown this season.
He gets it on the first bounce, and there's a guy you have to watch, 23. Bashar Livingston's going to get a key block. Breaks the first tackle. That's what all good returners will do, Chad. You see Ryan Folk misses right there, and there's 23 with the inside block on Strickland, and that allows Arlen Bruce. Now we get to the end. Question is, does his knee go down before the ball crosses the plane?
You could see the chalk, and this might give us a better angle. Almondo Curry valiantly with an attempt, but an Argo touchdown.
1987 all night long! All night long, 13! Oh! And they got
And now for the last 2 years, 15 return touchdowns by the Toronto Argonauts. In assessing that, we just missed this quick hitter incomplete intended for Thyron Anderson. So we pick up the action live, 2nd and 10. As you mentioned, it was awfully easy for Calvillo on the last drive. 4 receivers, wide side. Calvillo throwing, nearly picked off, but caught by Sylvain Girard.
Well, Sylvain Girard, who really has come on strong in the latter part of the season. He says, hey, all my teammates, all my other receivers getting all the limelight, all the glory. Well, you know what? He's been doing the job. Goes down, runs the back in on the corner, working against Adrian Smith. Contact is made. Great coverage. What a great catch by Girard.
Great positioning by Girard. And now Lapointe, another French-Canadian starter in that Montreal offense, a short gain at the 50. He was closed down quickly by Eric England and company.
I remember the last time these teams met, he did break one off for 77 yards for a touchdown. I like the fact that even though Montreal doesn't believe they have to run the ball that often, it does play games with the linebackers. You got to make this defense play honest and respect the run even if you don't do it a lot.
2nd and 9. Calvillo getting time, but overthrowing the intended receiver, Dave Stala, in the absence of Kwame Cavill, and the Argos hold defensively after that impressive march by Calvillo on the last series.
Well, they hold and they get a little pressure on Anthony Cavill, and that's what you have to do. He sits there, he throws the ball a little high over the intended receiver, Stala, but you've got to do that. Also changed up the coverage a little bit. Just mixed it up, a little bit of match coverage that time, sending a little extra defender to the 3 receiver side.
Clements was looking for 14 points from his special teams. He's halfway there as Livingston back to accept a high, short Mariscal punt. And they'll angle those punts all day to the sidelines to cut Livingston off.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Standard Life. Keeping our word is standard.
Don Matthews doesn't want to give the Argos opportunities to return punts, so he wants those kicks angled, but at 32 yards, is that enough distance? Is he losing in the trade-off by?
Well, I think the fact is, if you're kicking it and you're only getting 32 yards, but you're limiting the return by the returner after you just saw what Arlen Bruce did, it's a good trade-off.
Those numbers indicate the Argos have the best special teams in recent years. Arlen Bruce up to the 40. In fact, over a 2-year period, no team has ever had more than 10 except for the Argos, and that includes the great Eskimo teams led by Gizmo Williams, as you see. So, and the Argos have had 7 kick return touchdowns in each of the last 2 years. No team's ever done that. The Eskimos' best was 6 in a year. And that does not include today's Arlen Bruce 97-yard kickoff. So it's as dangerous a 1-2 punch as we've ever seen in CFL returns. Tony Miles with a catch at midfield, a first down for the Argonauts. And Miles, the most seasoned in this offense as far as the Argo receivers.
Well, they're going to keep John Avery in as an extra blocker. That's going to buy Damon Allen just that extra second to throw the football. He finds the ever-elusive Tony Miles, who just breaks it into the opening inside the hash mark with a big catch and a first down.
The Bruce kickoff changed things dramatically. The Argos stiffened on defense and now putting a couple of first downs together. Miles again. One-on-one against Davis Sanchez on the corner.
The biggest thing that Damon Allen's doing so far is he's making great pre-snap reads. Sees the defense, makes his decision, and is getting rid of the football quickly, negating the pressure defense of the Alouettes.
That's something Ken Austin talked about yesterday, simplifying the calls for Allen against Montreal. Every time he comes to the line, he has 2 options. Are they dropping off? Are they blitzing?
And they've broken it down to certain personnel. That might be Tim Strickland. They also know if Tim Strickland comes up and he drops off, a lot of times they're going to drop 8 into the secondary and only rush 4. If Anwar Stewart drops, they drop 9. They're trying to take away that quick hitch pass to the outside. With number 9, of course, Anwar Stewart, we know what he can do on the outside with 4 interceptions from that defensive end position. He's returning 2 of those for touchdowns.
The reads will be different on the next play because Tim Strickland down. And the man who makes the calls in the Alouette defensive huddle will be helped off and will not be available for at least 3 plays.
Well, these are the things you cannot control in a football game. The injuries. You may have the best record, you may dominate everybody, but when you lose key personnel, we already saw Kwame Camille go out with a suspected concussion. Now Tim Strickland is hobbling off the football field. Now their backups have to make their presence felt. Now that might be Patrick Dorvelis or Michael Botterill. Just working, just kind of gets his feet caught, a little attempted shuck on the intended receiver. R.J. Soward.
And so Strickland on the limp. As you can see, he was prominent in that Alouette defense. Argos have yet to run the ball. 8 straight passes, now looking at 2nd and 3. And flags down before that play got off.
Montreal's going to get called for offside. It's a nice job by Damon Allen of changing the snap count, catching the blitzing defense, jumping the gun.
Offside. Montreal 94. First down.
You a little surprised that the Argos have done nothing to try and establish a run here in the first quarter?
Well, right now, the way they're moving the football through the air, that might be a moot point.
Robert Brown jumped. Patrick Dorvelis had checked in for Tim Strickland. First down for the Argos. Allen going deep. R.J. Soward drops it. Oh, he's been a deep threat this year. Has made some big plays, but there's one he didn't make.
He gets a touchdown, Chris, every 3 throws. He's got only 15 receptions. He's got 5 touchdowns. He is a big play receiver, as you say. He's got to have that catch. What a beautifully thrown football by Damon Allen.
Took a hit from Dorvelis, but delivered a ball that should have been a major. Good first quarter and a 1-point Argo lead.
This Christmas, check the Canadian Tire Flyer to find great gift ideas for the car nut who likes to speed things up. Like the Mastercraft Crank Speed Ratchet.
This may look like an ordinary ratchet, but there's nothing ordinary about it.
It tightens and loosens fasteners in very tight spaces quickly because you can twist it like a screwdriver. Just keep twisting back and forth. It turns continuously one way as you crank both ways. That means you're tightening or loosening with no wasted motion. No sweep required, and it's fast. You can also bend the handle for even greater speed. But the Mastercraft crank speed ratchet is just getting warmed up. Watch this. Extend the shaft, bend the handle, and see how the crank speed ratchet performs much faster than ordinary ratchets. Now that was fast.
The Mastercraft Crank Speed Ratchet Kit, only $39.99. A great gift idea for any do-it-yourselfer, only at Canadian Tire.
Oh, I hate packing up.
Come here. I wish we could freeze this moment. What?
Just heard Mrs. Fraser's thinking of selling this place.
Oh.
You know, we've got enough to make an offer.
CIBC Investments can give you the freedom to create your own choices.
Welcome back to Olympic Stadium, the first time in 25 years that the Alouettes have enjoyed back-to-back crowds of over 50,000 at the Big O. As we start the second quarter, the Argos 2nd and 10 on the Montreal 43, a 1-point lead, and Allen back to throw. Down the middle, it's picked off. Kelly Melville will run a long way back and then get tagged by Robert Baker.
Well, Robert Baker made the play, but Kelly Melville read the eyes. So he sat back there on the far side halfback position and saw that Damon Allen was going to go down the seam all the way. He launches his football, 27, breaks off coverage, comes right in front of the intended receiver, R.J. Soward, and then turns it back upfield. Baker with the tackle, but a big turnover by the Alouette defense.
4 interceptions on the year for Malvo, who won a Grey Cup here in Montreal as a Calgary Stampeder in 2001. Damon Allen threw just 4 interceptions all season. Alouettes get the ball back, a pump from Calvillo, deep to Anderson, tipped away. Oh, what a recovery there by the first-year corner, Jordan Younger.
Not giving up on the play. Jordan Younger plays more like a 5-year vet than a rookie. Makes up ground as the football is in the air, closing speed. Nice job because he initially got burnt on the pump fake. You see Cavill pump fake it. They get Thyron Anderson deep. Jordan Younger equal to the task.
And we have another Alouette down. And it's Sylvain Girard. So Cavill out of the game. Tim Strickland left, and now Girard hobbling off. He had injury problems this year, played just 9 games, limped off. The Argos had 3 All-Canadians in their secondary last year, Steinauer, Ivory, and Smith, and they really solidified the other side with this guy, Jordan Younger, on the corner. 2nd and 10. Calvillo, more time, and now flips it, Cahoon! And Bonner had them all lined up, but Cahoon comes down with a short gain as we check the first quarter numbers.
Well, Cahoon always finds an opening as we take a look at the stats here. Obviously, no yards rushing, but they've thrown the short swing passes to Arland Bruce III. That's making up for the running game. They're using Avery as a blocker. Got the first turnover, the second quarter, obviously, by Allen trying to go deep, intercepted by Malvo. And obviously, the edge in the return yards from Arland Bruce.
There's some hard downhill running by Jonas Lewis. Cahoon got a good spot in the first down, and then Lewis will move the chains again with that.
Well, Jonas Lewis is not shy to talk to the media. Made no bones about the fact that he feels that he is an impact player. Hasn't been here a long time. When talking about going downfield and making tackles on Livingston, he says the guy's soft. Hard to believe. coming from a first-year player talking about Livingston.
Nothing soft about that run. 13, and now 13 rolls right. Cavillo, and he's upended, lunging forward to the line of scrimmage. And not much more. Remember that scamper late last year in the Eastern Final. Calvillo providing the winning points. Controversial winning points as he was stripped at the goal line of the football by Clifford Ivory. But once in a while, he'll take off.
Well, I think it's a smart move. I mean, Anfield's not known as a quarterback who's fleet of foot, who'll challenge the outside, the parameter of the football field. You have to do that to stretch that defense. Make that end think about you.
4 receivers wide side, 2nd and 10. And Cavillo hit as he unleashed, and that ball was up for grabs, but falls harmlessly to the turf as we join Brenda.
Taken away defender Kenny Wheaton's helmet. I spoke with him. He said he doesn't know how it happened, but he suffered a slight concussion. He said he got off the turf, can't remember exactly what happened. He's been trying to get Aaron's okay to get back into the game, but so far it's a no-go.
Chuck Winters has been in that spot, and as Mariscal punted that away, play was stopped, and there is Wheaton trying to plead his case. He wants back in, but apparently is not ready to go.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by General Motors and all its divisions.
What gives a man ultimate shaving performance? Braun Activator's revolutionary new foil with differently shaped holes captures hair growing in any direction for a closer shave in fewer strokes. And the world's most thorough automatic cleaning center leaves it feeling like a new shaver every day. Try the new Braun Activator. It's the world's best self-cleaning shaver, guaranteed.
You know what it feels like when you hit this nail instead of this one. For instant relief, use this, the versatile new Benchmark Thumb Saver, only at Home Hardware. It picks up and holds any size nail or screw, so your thumb's out of harm's way, and it makes it easier to work in hard-to-reach places. Use it to cut wire, pull staples, rip up carpet, even remove fish hooks. The fully guaranteed Benchmark Thumb Saver pliers, a great value, just $14.97, only at Home Hardware and Home Building Center.
He's a genius whose telephone invention was just the beginning. Is Alexander Graham Bell the greatest Canadian? CBC's Evan Solomon makes his case Monday at 8 on CBC television. And remember, you can vote for any of the top 10 nominees at cbc.ca/greatest. Well, not the greatest kick by Mark Mariscal. Everybody stopped and wasn't sure if the officials had whistled play down, but it was just a 26-yard punt marked out at the 17 as the Argos go to work. More flags down, and Allen takes off. And we won't see Damon Allen run as much as the good old days, but he's up to the 25, and we'll wait for the penalty call.
Well, I think that Damon Allen has to run like the good old days today. I don't think he can sit back in the pocket. Montreal's going to get called offside again. It's a good job again of Damon Allen changing the snap count, catching the blitzing defense. But Damon Allen must attack this defense not only with his arm, but with his legs. He can still get it done. Make yourself a threat both ways.
Number? Offside, Montreal 26. First down repeated.
Kerry Samuel, the defensive end, who will fill in there at that left defensive end spot.
In the 3-game losing streak for the Alouettes near the end of the year, Samuel was benched for some missed assignments. Back in now. And a 1st and 5 for the Argos. Looking wide side, Bruce with the catch, but immediately tagged by Reggie Durden, who has the reputation reputation of being the best cover man back there for Montreal and the only man in the secondary playing the same spot as in last year's Grey Cup.
Well, you bring the blitz up the middle, you force the ball. Bruce goes back, reaches behind, makes the nice catch. But as you say, Reggie Durden right there to bring him down. But again, good first down production. Picking up 8 yards, put yourself in a 2nd and 2 situation.
Third catch for Bruce, 2nd and 2. Remember, Durden had a fumble recovery touchdown 2 years ago in the Eastern Final. Here's a note and a first down. And Tony Miles with the catch. The Argos lost the services of Miles for an extended period this year, and yet he still caught 62 for 740 yards.
Well, again, the blitz is going to come. Now, what you don't see, R.J. Soward is going to clear. He's running the streak pattern. Tony Miles is right beside him, and he cuts it underneath to the sideline, gets himself wide open.
At the 32. First down, Argonauts. Good early numbers for Allen. And a nice catch there by Miles, stretching out at the 36-yard line.
Now, Tony Miles gets up, doesn't really put much of a emphasis other than walking back to the huddle. Nice job of trying to stretch out, picking up this football. Again, working against Kelly Melville, breaking it off to the sideline.
And clearly,
that's a good call by the official.
2nd and 10. Dave Ewell wants to confer with the line judge. They marked the ball where Miles dropped it.
I guess the guy carrying the yards, obviously a Toronto fan, wanted to give the catch to Tony Miles, but we got to go back. It's 2nd and 10.
Had a huge Eastern Final last year, a pair of touchdowns and over 100 yards. 2nd and 10, 6 receivers out. Allen with time, looking deep, looking for Miles, and overthrowing the Argo wideout.
And another skirmish going on behind the scenes with this O-line and defensive line.
And Damon Allen on the limp too. He took a hit as he delivered the football. And at the bottom of that pile,
well, is that a surprise?
Quarterback killer.
Is that a surprise? Number 75, who stirs it up, the Hornets' nest, always getting involved with the offensive line. He's been accused of being a little less than legitimate football player, a little bit dirty. And again, you see him go down on the knees, and that is bad. That's after the play. It's side. Right, the shot at the side of the knees. He's down. I mean, this is a look at 64. You are right there. The official is there. I cannot believe they didn't make that call.
That's a 15-yard penalty. We've seen some weak calls protecting the quarterback this year. That one has to be made. As Ezra Landry returns the kick.
Chris, that's not a 15-yard penalty. That's an attempt to injure. That's a game disqualification penalty. They should have called it. Right?
Sir, I want some more.
Want more? Get it in the 2004 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab. It has more standard horsepower, torque, and towing capacity than Ford or Dodge half-ton Crews. Still want more?
I want more.
You've got it. With incredible deals during Canada-wide clearance. GMC, building legends.
Oh, Mom, Grandpa's collar has a deer on it, right?
No, it's a caribou, honey.
Caribou, okay.
What size does Megan wear? Oh, about a 2. Hello? Hello?
So what do you think?
I think a plain blue one.
Blue? Okay.
I found the perfect bathrobe for Mom.
How nice.
My mom.
Come together with Family Plan from Rogers Wireless. 2 phones, share minutes from only $35 a month.
Who carries only the highest quality brand name products competitively priced, backed by knowledgeable staff? It's all at Western Canada's leading supplier of professional automotive repair centers. Bumper to bumper. Trusted by professionals. Trusted by you.
Wendy's has a simply delicious way for chicken lovers to enjoy chicken. Our home-style chicken strips, big tender pieces of juicy whole season breast filet with your choice of 3 delicious sauces. Wendy's, it's better here. And our pickup window is open late.
He's the modern-day Angelo Mosca. Ed Fillion having a field-wide conversation with somebody on the Argo bench.
You just can't do this. Now watch, the ball's freezing there. The ball is gone now, and here's Ed Fillion. Now run it, guys, and look at this. And look where he hits him. It is straight at the knees. You know, they say that unless you're pushed into the quarterback, you are not allowed to hit the quarterback below the waist.
Alouette football, flag down, and Anwar Stewart, who was in on the hit of Damon Allen, caught the football and makes the catch. Stewart with a couple of catches during the season, and that's one of the reasons he wears number 9. And we do have flags down, and we'll sort this out. I wanted to get back to Fillion as Ewell makes the call.
Montreal 65. First down repeated.
Paul Lambert. But yesterday he was going through the list of quarterbacks he has injured. Kahari Jones, Stanley Jackson, Damon Allen, Nealon Green, Casey Britters. And then after he listed them, he said, all clean hits.
Well, I know that I've talked to a couple of guys, obviously having close contact in Winnipeg, and they felt that when he put Kahari out that he was twisting the ankle in the pile. So I guess he'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. And, you know, if it gets you to the championship game.
Second down, first down and 20. Calvillo going deep, up for grabs, and incomplete. Younger had a shot at it, and Ben Cahoon nearly got it on the ricochet, but it's a long incompletion. But Ed Fillion is a guy that everybody wants on their team. He is a talented, hard-nosed nose tackle.
Well, the comment was that you don't like to play against him, but you like to have him on your team because of the fact he's such a fiery individual. And, I mean, he may bend the rules a little bit. We saw one flagrant right there, but the fact is he is hard-nosed, and he'll do whatever it takes to win. He's got that no-lose attitude.
Second and 20. Calvillo flushed. Ivan tracks him and brings him down. There's the top Canadian in the East, Kevin Ivan, with the sack. And yesterday, Don Matthews told us that anybody that voted for Ivan, their ballots aren't valid. He felt strongly that Ben Cahoon should have got the goal.
As well as I do that he is the biggest proponent. He markets his players like no other coach in the CFL. Obviously, he was upset that Ben Cahoon didn't get the nod, but how do you overlook a guy, number 35, Kevin Ivan, who's just done it all? He's led the CFL in tackles. He's the first Canadian linebacker to do so. I mean, you just gotta like the way the guy plays. He's all over the football field. It was a great choice.
Mariscal the punt, and Livingston fielding it at the 45. Great coverage, and he's nailed immediately after a 38-yard punt. Livingston gets 2 on the return, and they'll scrum up there as the tempers are short here midway through the second quarter. Well, the Argos sensitive on this issue because they haven't got through the last 2 Eastern finals without their starting quarterback being injured.
Well, 2 years ago, Reggie Slack, and obviously there's Ed Fillion again right in the middle of that.
Ed forgot Reggie Slack.
Well, he won't after he sees the film here, and then of course Tito Simpson fractured his hand last year, and then of course Tito Simpson's also the defensive tackle that has cracked his left tibia.
Tough job for a 41-year-old grandfather, but he's back in and nearly picked. Tony Miles sat down, and Allen was reading the play differently. And Davis Sanchez nearly picked it off.
Well, that's a feeling of helplessness if you're the receiver, Tony Miles, because as he sits down right now, he doesn't even have an opportunity to break on that football. Helplessly, he's got to watch and hope that Sanchez doesn't come up with the interception on the play. Fillion again working. This time you see a little retribution. John Avery getting in his face saying, you know what? Watch your legs, son. I'm coming to cut them.
Allen Gets pulled off, just 2 of his last 7. Second down, and he'll take off and wisely got down with Robert Brown in the neighborhood. And now Filion, and it's tied up with one of those big offensive linemen again.
Well, Filion's getting into it. John Avery's downfield, mixing it up with Dwayne Butler. You see the emotion still running very high right now. And I tell you, right now, they know on the sideline that a cheap shot was taken at their quarterback. He's their bread and butter guy. He's the guy that'll get them to Ottawa next week to the big game, the Grey Cup. You cannot get away with hitting the quarterback, much like running a goalie in hockey.
Damon Allen crossed the line of scrimmage, so that's considered the first official run of the game. And Prefontaine checked back in with 5'3" Ezra Landry awaiting. Landry returned a missed field goal, 110 yards against the Argos in his CFL debut. He's brought down as he hits the 33-yard line. 43-yard punt. 12 on the return as David Allen stretches out.
Pontiac drivers make the most of even the smallest opportunities. Introducing Pontiac Wave.
When their daughter left town, the Cranks made a bold decision. We skipped Christmas.
Skip Christmas?
Isn't that against the law?
There's just one little problem.
Frosty better be here.
They want Frosty.
No! Now they're teaching him.
Free, Frosty, free, Frosty.
You can't
Try to relax, will you, Luther?
skip Christmas.
We got him.
Christmas with the Cranks. Special sneak preview this Saturday night. Opens everywhere November 26th.
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
No, you don't. You don't have a cold.
Oh, yes, I do.
You're not sneezing or anything.
Well, I was yesterday, but I took Contact.
Contact helps you breathe easier because it helps relieve sneezes due to nasal congestion for up to 12 hours, so you can get on with your day.
Oh, it's cold. I know what you mean.
No, you don't.
Oh, yes, I do.
Contact helps you get on with your day.
A reminder to log on to cbc.ca/sports/football in the second half. Cast your vote for Warrior of the Game. You'll decide who showed the true character of a football warrior in this Eastern Division final. Plenty of early candidates. Jordan Younger, one of them, and the defensive showdown we anticipated starting to unfold here after that early, impressive Montreal march. At the 31, Hitch in the flat, and that's Girard back in the game, so good news for the Alouettes who lost Cavill, that Girard, who was injured earlier, has returned.
Well, I think you hit it on the head as we watch again, a Hitch pass. Going to get it out to Girard, get some blockers in front of him. Thyron Anderson trying to get the block. Adrian Smith, the veteran, comes up, wraps him up. The coverage of the Argonauts in the secondary, much tighter, much more physical with the receivers since that easy drive in the first quarter by the Alouettes.
5 for Girard, 2nd and 5. A lot of time, Calvillo underneath. Thyron Anderson, the wideout, the crossing pattern and a first down.
You cannot cover Thyron Anderson with the linebacker, especially a middle linebacker, Mike O'Shea. Now, Mike O'Shea, he's a smart middle linebacker. He's the leader, and he's right in the middle right here. But he can't cover. He's got to pick him up as he comes across right now. That's a mismatch all day. Not only has Thyron Anderson got some height on him, but he's definitely got speed on Mike O'Shea.
The 4th man to hit 1,000 in that Alouette receiving corps. He was actually 8th in the league when all the stats were in. Swing pass, Eric Lapointe crashing across midfield and stopped by Michael Fletcher, one of the active Argo linebackers, who was overlooked as an all-star in the East, and Pinball Clements was critical of that oversight when we talked to him yesterday.
Well, who would know their players better than the head coach himself? So obviously when you're working with your players and one of your players you feel has done outstanding work all year and gets neglected by the writers who vote for the All-Star team, obviously you're going to say something.
2nd and 5. Calvillo underneath, Cahoon with the catch at the 45-yard line. And another first down, and that's Chuck Winters in, replacing Kenny Wheaton at defensive halfback for Toronto.
I know they like Chucky Winters. I mean, he comes across. He's a good cover guy. He stays right there. He brings down Ben Cahoon, but not before he picks up a first down. But the thing is, as we take a look at the Fantastic Four and what they've done this season, the fact is that Kenny Wheaton gives you that hit. He is a power hitter. He'll knock the receivers out of the game.
Again, Cavill hurt and has not returned. The screen was botched as there was plenty of interference being run by the Argos along the line, and it will be 2nd and 10. Anthony Calvillo told us yesterday that if you saw an early march, it meant that he was reading everything, and the Argos had not surprised him. He said if we go 2 and out a few times, you know that they've changed their look and we'll have to make our own adjustments.
We take a look at his numbers, regular season versus postseason, obviously a little down, but I don't care. You look at a guy, he's the outstanding player in the CFL last year, runner-up the year before, and he's up for it again this year.
And he has Cahoon, his 5th catch of the game, down to the 20.
Just a situation of having football smarts. Ben Cahoon reads defenses as well as the quarterbacks do. Sees his own coverage, and you see he gets right behind the linebacker, Kevin Ivan. He knows where the holes in the defense is, and then Cavill gets the time to throw the football. Bam, big completion, 5 catches, 77 yards, and once again, the Alouettes are marching.
He had a 10-catch game against Toronto earlier this season. Screen, Copeland inside, and he's down to the 10-yard line. Antonius Bonner with the stop as they give the benches the 3-minute warning. Alouettes threatening here in the 2nd quarter.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. We are go. Guidance internal. Roll program confirmed. 10, 9, 8, 7. Ignition sequence start. 4, 3, 2, 1. All engines running. Liftoff. We have liftoff at 8:14 in the morning.
Introducing the all-new Pontiac G6. Built for drivers.
I give you my word.
Keeping our word is standard. Standard Life.
So long, ordinary toothbrush. Oral-B has created the new Professional Care 8000. It pulsates and oscillates to loosen plaque and sweep it away. Teeth get twice as clean and your whole mouth gets healthier. Why use anything else? The new Oral-B Professional Care 8000.
Wendy's has a simply delicious way for chicken lovers to enjoy chicken. Our home-style chicken strips, big tender pieces of juicy whole season breast filet with your choice of 3 delicious sauces. Wendy's, it's better here. And our pickup window is open late.
Who carries only the highest quality brand name products competitively priced, backed by knowledgeable staff? It's all at Western Canada's leading supplier of professional automotive repair centers. Bumper to bumper. Trusted by professionals. Trusted by you.
Last year they were the dynamic duo, the most receptions ever by 2 players on the same team, 211 for Jermaine Copeland and Ben Cahoon, and they have been prominent on this drive.
Well, they're doing a nice job of mixing up the plays, attacking downfield down the middle of the football field, and then coming back the next play and going to the sideline on a quick hitch, tiring out those linebackers of the Toronto Argonauts.
In fact, those 2 combined for 27 touchdowns last year. The 4 horsemen this year, only 26 between the 4. First down at the 10. Calvillo flushed, and he'll slide feet first in front of Michael O'Shea at the line of scrimmage.
Well, when he gets outside, we saw him run to the right and break contain. This time he goes to the left side, finds an opening, but has to slide, picks up 1 yard, if that. They're going to call it 2nd and 10, but you got to give credit to the secondary of the Argonauts who did a nice job of covering downfield.
Ball was right on the 10. We're just debating whether it's second and goal, and for all intents and purposes would be. There's a problem snap, loose ball, and the Argos come up with it. Jonathan Brown has the football, and the Alouettes squander a golden opportunity.
Well, during a football game, Chris, they say you'll have 5 big plays. You need to win the majority of those to win the football game. Well, this is a big play for the Argonauts right now, as Cavill just can't find a handle on this direct snap, fumbles the football. Jonathan Brown comes up with a huge recovery, snuffing out a potential scoring drive by the Alouettes.
For Jonathan Brown, it was the 3rd fumble recovery on the year. Just over 2 minutes to go. Flags fly. And it looked like Montreal offside again.
I think it's Tito Simpson, 96, the interior defensive tackle of the Alouettes, who jumps the gun. Well, Chris, what a big break for the Argonauts.
Ryan Chew, the all-Canadian. He's done that once or twice this year where he's pulling out.
Offside. Montreal 96. Still first down.
Remember, he also missed the last couple of weeks with an injury. He's back.
So the errant snap, and it's vacuumed up by a sure-handed Jonathan Brown. The turnover's even. And snuffing Montreal momentum, preserving this 1-point lead. Allen looking downfield. And Arlen Bruce curled. The pass falls incomplete. During the regular season, the Alouettes were in the Argo scoring zone 15 times and scored only 3 touchdowns.
Well, that basically tells you right there, that's a bend but not great defense. They had to settle for a lot of field goals, and 3 points is a lot better to give up than 7.
Whereas the Argos only 3 times in 3 games. The only consolation, they pushed it in twice.
Well, so far in this football game today, Chris, we've seen a better offensive output from the Argonauts.
Second down over. Now Bruce gets a first down up at the 34-yard line. Bruce stumbled, but he does have it up for the first.
Well, once again, a quick hitch, and the thing that's really mystifying to me is the halfback is playing so far off Arlen Bruce. The corner's up tight in coverage. That allows the halfback, by him playing so far deep, it's just a quick pitch to Arlen Bruce. Get him downfield. Andre Talbot tries to spring him. They pick up a first down and move it out of their shadows of their end zone.
Allen. Bruce looked like he wanted to throw, pulls it down instead, and spins away from 2 up to the 45. And the Argo bench erupts. They thought maybe Bruce got a late hit.
It looked like he got a late hit of some of the would-be tacklers. A little piling on after he was down. Identical play to the previous one, little hitch pass. This time to the opposite side of the football field, spin move. Great balance shown by Arlen Bruce.
Now, did he have the option to throw there?
Well, I like the fact that he does put that in their mind, the defensive minds.
First down up at the 45. Just over a minute to go, and stretching out with the catch at the 50 is Tony Miles. Just 3 catches for 15 yards last week in the Eastern Semi.
Well, Tony Miles is getting a lot of these quick hitters, picking up 5 yards. He's doing an excellent job of coming up with these catches. These aren't easy catches because the coverage is right there. Look at Sanchez. He's right there to take the legs out. But watch what happens now. Little pump and fake. Maybe you'll catch Sanchez cheap.
2nd and 5 from the 50. Here comes the blitz. Allen underneath, and Arlen Bruce has another first down. Arlen Bruce did not catch more than 4 in any game during the regular season. That's his 5th catch of this first half for 50 yards.
Well, he's doing it all. We see him on a hitch pass this time, just a little over route over the middle. Comes up with another first down.
Argos in there, hurry up. Allen with some time. Bruce getting jostled and incomplete. And a reminder that coming up at halftime, we'll have the panel with our special guest Danny McManus, and also Wally Buono. We'll pay a visit with Sean, Greg, and Brian to discuss that heart-stopping overtime victory that sees the BC Lions the first to qualify for the 2004 Grey Cup. The Lions split with Toronto and won both against the Alouettes, who lost only 4 all year. John Fugel came out of his 3-point stance early, and they'll march this back 5.
Interesting thing that's happening already, Chris, is the fact that because Damon Allen's getting some success throwing the football, it's taken Montreal out of their pressure blitzing defense right now. They're doing a lot more of the zone, dropping 8 guys, trying to take away throwing lanes from Damon Allen.
Illegal procedure, Toronto 67.
Fugel, the right tackle.
Timer.
Second time this afternoon or this evening he's been called on that infraction.
Reset the clock to 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Asking for 1 second to be added onto the clock here. So a half minute remaining in a defensive first half. The Argos with a 1-point lead on the strength of a Arlen Bruce 97-yard kickoff return, and trying to enhance that lead before they head to the dressing room. 2nd and 15, Allen underneath, and Bruce is upended at the 53, not even back to the original line of scrimmage.
Onwar Stewart, who's up for the top defensive player in the CFL. What a move to the inside on the right tackle. Fugel just baits him, comes in there, forces Damon Allen to step up, get rid of that football. He finds Arlen Bruce, but brought down by Kevin Johnson, as you say, well short of the first down.
22 seconds remaining. You would think that Prefontaine will be trying to angle this away from any possible Landry return. High punt, and it does go out inside the 10, so Prefontaine gets the job done beautifully. And time runs out in the half. Dominated by defense. And Mike Clements halfway to the goal of winning the special teams battle by 14 points as he gets the big kick return in that first half.
Well, I think the thing you got to be happy with is a lot of people across Canada really didn't think that Toronto had much chance against Montreal. So you know when you go in with the lead, it's a positive thing.
Let's join Brenda Irving.
Don Matthews' team is down by 1 and down. Don, how do you feel that Anthony Calvillo handled that Toronto defense during the first half of play?
I can't hear a word you're saying.
How do you think that Anthony Calvillo handled the Toronto defense during that first half of play?
Well, I thought we moved the ball well a lot of times. I thought he was very careful with the ball. It was unfortunate he had a bad snap that cost us some points down there by our goal line.
What's the single biggest improvement you'd like to see your team make in the second half?
Well, just to sustain some drives and put the ball in the end zone.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Here in Montreal, after one half of play, it's the Argos leading the Alouettes 8-7. When we return, it's Brian Williams and the panel with our halftime report.